Welcome to the redirect, episode 80. We're going to talk about what Google still cares about, and I hope Google does still care about things. With me today is Jason Dodge. In a world where Google updates its algorithm more than 5,000 times a year, one truth does remain: trust and reputation still matters. So today we're going to dig around a little bit with the pillars that keep websites viable, credible, and competitive on Google. Hi there. As I mentioned earlier, this is Jason Dodge. I'm Adrienne Wallace. Today we're going to be chatting about Google's Search Quality Evaluator Guidelines, acronym EEAT, and what it means for the future of search here. Coming off of some Google updates yesterday.
Yeah,
What do we got? Do we still care about EEAT? Does Google still value that? What's the good
we,
word?
I mean, hey, first and foremost, I actually think this is really timely. We have, over the last couple of months recorded multiple podcasts
Mm-hmm.
that try and help, listeners and marketers be informed of what are these, not only what these changes are in the world of digital marketing, so not just Google, but like really what does it mean for your brand? So like the whole goal here is to help you understand like why does this matter to me? Like should I
Mm-hmm.
freak out about this or should I stay the course? Um, we love acronyms. We love a good acronym. So EEAT is a is a rendition. It's built off of EAT, right? EEAT stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. And I suppose kind of they're not buzzwords anymore. They're really from, as you alluded to, they're right from Google's search quality
Right.
rater guidelines, evaluator guidelines, call them what you
Mm-hmm.
will. Um, that's really where this comes from, and it's this idea of I know this sounds weird to some people, producing high quality content that matters to your audience that is
Mm-hmm.
helpful. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, seriously. So experience is the newest E, right, to the list.
Yeah.
Um, and it seems like, and at first when I was thinking about this, it felt redundant to the other E, or something that could be simply replaced. But it does seem to me that it's not now just what you know or what you pretend to know or what you portend to know, but rather what you've actually done,
Yeah.
which is honestly kind of refreshing. Do you have examples of how that's been used,
Yeah, I mean, I
in your
think
own work?
yep, I'll speak to like if you look at those some of the easiest industries to understand who were impacted by this the most.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes back a number of years at this point when EAT was introduced again, morphing into EEAT. And that the additional E comes into place in terms of experience, I think plays into this. When I say this, if you think of your highly regulated industries, those core industries, healthcare, medical, right? So healthcare, finance, insurance,
Mm-hmm.
legal, like those
Right.
like top three and four pillars. Well, in any of those professions, wouldn't you want to work with somebody who not necessarily just has the expertise in it? Because this is the internet. I can come off as having the expertise in it.
Right.
Same thing
Right.
with authority. I can build authority.
Right.
Any PR professional will tell you that. And
Correct.
I can build what appears to be trustworthiness, right? Through reviews and things of that nature. But it's that experience that you're going to want. You're not going to an ortho surgeon when you need an oral surgeon, right?
Right.
Like those are two completely different
Right.
that
Right.
you have
Right.
no experience in it. It's the idea that, and I think this is going to continue to grow, especially with AI overviews,
Mm-hmm.
where maybe as a brand, you used to be able to produce content and rank for things that were tangential to your business. It wasn't directly in line, like almost very questionable as to like, I see the relationship here, but like, it's not really what your product or your service does. Man, if you continue to do that, obviously that's like old SEO stuff,
Right.
but like now more than ever, not doing that matters, and that stuff is getting sniffed out, and you're not going to be rewarded for it.
Right. Right. So kind of maybe lay a little bit of a foundation here. So, what are the breadcrumbs? What does how does Google know that you're a trusted entity? Like, how does it determine that?
Yeah, I think, oh man, that's hard. So like those brand signals, if
Mm-hmm.
you will, are
Yep.
really kind of the breadcrumbs of to
Right.
how to know you're a trusted entity. So I think there's, and depending on entity-based search is an interesting one, right? That's really what we're in. So the entities, the different, if you want to think about this in black and white logic, entities, something that lives out there
Mm-hmm.
on the internet that's about you, your brand, is an
Mm-hmm.
entity. That
Mm-hmm.
could be local based search. So if we think about your Google business profile or
Sure.
anywhere your quote unquote NAP lives, your name, address, phone number could be an entity. Um, Certainly mentions in various publications and articles, social media commentary, user generated content,
Mm-hmm.
alignment of your brand in those mentions directly alongside what it is that you do, maybe that's industry, maybe that's service based or product based, is all of that is extremely important and delivers Google and I think other search engines and even LLMs the signals that they need to start to say this is a reputable source
Mm-hmm.
and this is someone that we should look at because I think they look at brands not necessarily because of recognition,
Mm-hmm.
but it helps them build trust with their users, meaning if I can reduce the risk knowing that this is an authoritative source and they have experience in what they do and there's some peer review there, that I as Google am going to feel more comfortable putting you in the list. I'm not going to say
Sure.
where you're going to be in the list, but I'm going to feature you there, right?
When I think about that, it reminds me a little bit of like a permanent record, right? Like we were always threatened
Yeah,
with when we were in like grade school. This will go on
totally.
your permanent record. But really we're talking about digital reputation and what that is valued at and why Google cares about that is because, you know, it builds Google's credibility too, technically.
Yeah, it's not you're not building this is beyond, your job as an SEO, your job as a digital marketer or communicator is not just keyword research.
Right.
Like there are many different types of keyword research tools out there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, trust in that data alone is a whole other subject. But knowing what to do with that information is important. But that goes back to, you know, um, academic conversations that you and I have had. I'm sure about like the tool doesn't create the strategy,
Right.
right? It doesn't. It's just
Totally.
an output of data, and you still have to understand what to do with it.
Absolutely.
So I don't care what tool you use. I'm going to say, so why did you make the
Yeah,
decision that you did,
exactly.
right?
Explain it to me. Right. Yep.
Yeah,
Defend it.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I think that's where we get into some of the, a lot of the crossroads with SEO and PR, like we've talked about
Yep.
before, and the importance of those things, and collaborating. All of that is important. I would almost think that, the keyword research and the themes might show you the popularity around things, but you have to have the wherewithal for that industry or that service to say, ooh, is that in alignment with what my brand should be known for? Am I a battery manufacturer or am I the company that makes the machines and the automation that builds the batteries? Those are two vastly, vastly different things. To a layman, probably not, or a general searcher, but to your customer, very different things. And you have to
Right.
understand that. And you have to understand where I want the brand to be positioned online, not just in
Right.
search, but online, and understand that it ladders up to search,
Sure.
kind of to your point.
Sure. Yeah, and I think like if we go back to like where the scrutiny lies
Yeah.
and you had talked about like those major categories that, like medical, legal, financial content,
Hmm.
your money, your life, remember?
YMYL, Yimly.
Another acronym.
That's right.
But I think like what's important to consider is the source, right? And Google
Yeah.
is showing us that way. Um, is there anything that small businesses can do to own space in this like sort of like mega hierarchy? It seems to me that like brands that are highly popular or big search brands, like it, I think a second ago you talked about like electronic batteries. I was like, it seems to me that people would be searching for the purpose for electronic batteries, like maybe the
Hmm.
car that it fuels, as
Yeah.
opposed to like the thing that fuels it. But like how can smaller businesses showcase authorship and credentials and credibility and prove that they're a reputable source? We work with a lot of small to mid-sized businesses, and there's definitely differences between them and our much larger businesses.
Yeah, for sure. Well, some of that comes down to as well, like what's the consumer want too?
Hmm.
Okay. So is it depending on the region, depending on the community, is that community more likely to prefer a local company over a big box store or a big box
Hmm.
retailer, right? So just kind of think about that. But a lot of the sites that ran into issues during the helpful content update just lacked clear signals of like who their people are, the real
Right.
authors behind this, the real experiences or the real expertise or up to date knowledge. And that is an area too where I think that it's a double-edged sword. SMBs specifically, a lot of times smaller than probably the ones that we tend to work
Hmm.
with if you're not like multi-location, is that your website's just a brochure still. Like, yeah, I got a
Right.
website, like, yeah, no big deal, but you're not really giving it any love. You're not
Sure.
updating it, you're not posting content there. There's no social proof and reviews, et cetera, et cetera. So it doesn't really bolster you in the air quotes community, right? About what it is that you do. But I therein lies the opportunity for small businesses to potentially edge out certain larger organizations is that typically SMBs have a more evangelical following, right? We have an opportunity. I mean, I'm a small business owner myself. I have an opportunity to connect with you, my customer, much more one-on-one, much more
Hmm.
intimately, right? It is all about the relationship. Our big priority here at Black Truck is exceptional client services. That's what I want to provide. It's like we're a hospitality brand with an SEO problem or something. But
Hmm.
like what that allows you to do is it allows you to make the ask when you want to get reviews. It allows you to make the asks when you want to talk about the services that you provided to that individual, or to listen very closely about how your services could be different, or how maybe you could better go communicate about that versus what a big box brand is doing, which yeah, they're going to dominate because they have a budget, but they have a lot of red tape to cut through as well. And what they're doing in Atlanta is probably no different than what they're doing here in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Hmm.
They're just changing the name to protect the innocent, right? That's kind of what they're doing, and they're trying to apply it broad scope across all of their markets.
So, all of that in mind,
Hmm.
we have covered a lot of ground in just a few minutes here. What kind of advice can we give to folks about not jeopardizing their space because of the things that you talked about that might be deficient, right? Not updating
Yeah.
content, et cetera, et cetera. So let's call this future proofing our content. Like, what do we want people to focus on in order to future proof a site? And how to, I guess, apply the the things that Google seeks to ourselves.
Yeah.
Um, how do we do that?
Yeah. Well, I'll save the technical SEO side of it for a moment, but because that's the stuff that can feel nerdy and
Right,
nebulous. But I
right.
do think that focusing on things that are, and this sounds like a maybe an obscure statement, but focusing on good brand, good
Mm,
community building things are important. Your face as a business owner matters. Sometimes, and I get it, owner operator, like we don't always want to put our face out there. Some of us are just as happy doing the work as out there gripping and grinning, you know. And you know what? I think our friend Kim Bodie at 834 Communications has gone on multiple presentations and rants about this. Like, hey, business owners, you actually have to put yourself out there. You actually
hmm.
need to kind of go on the record and step up to the podium and remind people of what it is that you do. And that's what you need to do as a brand. keep in mind that doesn't matter if you're an SMB and you're just serving the West Michigan community and you're a car dealer, or you're a national brand,
Mm-hmm.
or you're Black Truck and we serve clients on both coasts and everywhere in between. We have to remind people of what it is that we do.
Sure.
So sometimes we got to get the bullhorn out and we got to shout that a little bit louder and
Mm-hmm.
remind people of what we're doing, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we have to participate in conversations like this, interviews, panels, right? Be a subject matter expert. But being a subject matter expert doesn't necessarily mean that, oh my God, I got to go bang out 50 blog posts a month. Like, no, that's not gaining you any amount of credibility.
Mm-hmm.
Odds are that's not quality content.
Right.
And it's not going to make you perform any better in
Yeah,
search,
I think that's the old chasing the algorithm sort of thoughts and
for
feelings,
sure.
right? Where you're like, more is better no matter what. And that, sort of used to think that, and there were a lot of things that when Google's able to be a little more transparent about their operations, boy, I think people, they shape right up after that. It's like
Yeah.
it's a warning or a shot fired.
Well, and the other thing that you can do too is lean into the idea of where my customer base hangs out
Sure.
and gets their information locally, right? And making sure that you have some seat at the table. You may have a seat at the head of the table for a little bit, or you might not. But the point is that you need to have some seat at that table.
Mm-hmm.
That could be local search. Are you in the local pack? Are you in the local organic pack? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
there's that side of it. If somebody's going to, Facebook and they're hashtagging HiveMind because people still do that and they want to know who's who, monitor and see if you're coming up in that conversation, or go and look at some groups and see if you have some presence and some mentions in there, or if it's subreddits that are important to you. I mean, you have to go and find, I hate this because it just sounds like social media 2009. You got to find your tribe,
Mm-hmm.
but you
Yeah, thanks,
understand what I'm
Seth Godin.
saying.
Right.
Yeah, you have to understand where your community,
Right.
where your customers within the community are hanging out,
Mm-hmm.
and are you able to be there, be a part of the journey, add value? You don't need to be salesy. You
Mm-hmm.
need to be there when they need you.
I think that is fabulous advice. Um,
Thank
because
you.
that's like and you're not even paying me to say that really. But the trust is the long game, right? Like
Right, right.
the algorithm will change, the mode might change, the method
That's
might
right.
change. But at the end of the game, or at the end of the day, you have to make sure that you've built that trust and chase that credibility as opposed
Yeah, I
to
mean, let's
more.
think about this. For instance, I was kind of scrubbing through some various marketing lists and whatnot as a
Hmm.
business owner. I do, and I start to scrutinize our own brand, much like anybody does.
Oh yeah, that's what triggers all of the Google chats after like 8 p.m.
Yeah,
That's when you're
usually.
really at
Yep,
your
those are
best
great.
research mode.
Absolutely. Yep, your anxiety just spikes and I
I'm here for
spiral.
it.
But I think that, what also too comes of that is like this innate research out of me too. So not to share personal stories, but I'm going to deep dive in there. I'm going to start
Hmm.
to figure out like, okay, yeah, but why does the AI overview include these
Right.
types of brands in a top list? And oh, it's a popularity contest. Interesting.
Hmm.
Well, you have to ask like, if you are a marketing agency, um, I don't know, is is your ideal customer out there shopping and vetting marketing agencies because of their reviews on Clutch? Are they out there vetting trash companies because of their reviews on Nextdoor? I mean, you really have to ask that question. Now, part of that is I have to be there because Google is
Right.
leaning into the aggregator sites. Okay, I get that, and I can be there, but at what cost? And what does
Hmm.
that mean to me? And am I able to own that conversation, right? That gets into the whole owned media,
Yep.
and you can go listen to a previous podcast we
Yep.
recorded on that,
Yep.
and which wagon you want to hitch your brand to.
Hmm.
But it does come down to fundamentally at a business level, who's your ideal customer and where are they at? And making sure that you're putting the efforts into those areas. Not that the other areas don't matter, but
Hmm.
maybe you just don't maybe just don't water it as much,
Right,
right?
right, 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 right. Well, we've been ending these podcasts lately with like a challenge or a question. There's been like thematical uh I guess like
Yeah.
reflection that we've been kind of focused on the last few episodes. So I think we're going to issue a challenge here. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we absolutely issue a challenge. So, I think that you open this segment with the algorithm changes, and I always love to say the algorithm changes more than the U.S. tax code, and it does. And building trust is your long game,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you know that I myself am not an algorithm chaser.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been. This is a very reactionary industry.
Right, for
So,
sure.
so from a challenge perspective, I think where I would love to be for people to look is I want you to look at your top three content pages, right? So go into Google Analytics. If you don't have Google Analytics, we probably should talk.
Call us.
Um, and look at your top three content pages that are not your homepage,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and not your careers page. And do you feel, can you answer this question? Like, am I clearly defining or showcasing my experience,
Mm-hmm.
right? And is it obvious? Is it obvious to the reader, not you, right? Is it obvious to your customer? And I suppose, are you an authority in your niche, right? Like, are you an authority in your niche? So there's a big difference between, I always say, I'm Jason Dodge, founder and CEO of Black Truck Media and Marketing. We are trusted by brands to improve their visibility and discoverability online. And what I mean by that is we're not a full service marketing agency. That's like me putting the dagger in and twisting it and saying, we are not a full
Right.
service marketing agency. We do not do brand. We do not do design. We do not talk about it on our website.
Mm-hmm.
That is not what people come to us for.
Mm-hmm. All right. So to recap our challenge, it's audit your top three content pages, not
Yes.
careers, not homepage.
No.
Clearly does what we're asking ourselves is, does it clearly show what our experience is? And in that is our expertise, the other E, obvious.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
the follow up to that is, are you authoritative in your niche? Are you showing or recommending that you have authority in your area? And
Yeah.
that's where they're going to start, right?
That's where I would start.
All right.
Absolutely. It's a good crash course.
All right. Well, I look forward to seeing or hearing about anyone's feedback related to those things.
Absolutely.
And I once again thank you for spending your time with us. And thanks, Jason, for coming on here and answering all the questions I always demand of you. I appreciate that.
You know what? I enjoy it, and thank you so much for for being a great co-host on these. It's great because there's always a lot of different ideas, and I think that comes with the um honestly, the years of experience of not only doing it, but just trying to look
Hmm.
around corners and being helpful to brands. That's the goal
Absolutely.
here. And how can you help your brand as you move forward? And that's
Absolutely.
kind of my parting words this time.
Great. Well, thanks
Cool.
for listening, everybody. You can catch all of our podcast episodes, including our little tiny snack break ones called BTW, by the way, with Black Truck at our website, blacktruckmedia.com. Thanks a bunch, and we'll see you guys again next time. Good luck.
Awesome. Thanks so much.